Did ancient humans get cancer? Imagine living 10,000 years ago. No cigarettes, no processed food, no pollution from factories, no modern chemicals, no radiation machines. You hunt, walk every day, eat natural food, and spend almost your entire life outdoors. So cancer should have been almost impossible. Right? Not exactly. Cancer is not a modern disease. It has existed for thousands and probably millions of years. The problem is that ancient cancer is extremely difficult to detect. Most cancers grow in soft tissues like the lungs, liver, breast, or intestines. After death, those organs disappear. Archaeologists are usually left with bones, and only some cancers damage bones strongly enough to leave evidence. That means the archaeological record probably shows only a tiny fraction of the real cases. One of the oldest known examples comes from ancient human relatives. Researchers have found bone tumors in fossils that are more than 1 million years old. In one case, a foot bone from a hominin in South Africa showed evidence of osteosarcoma, an aggressive form of bone cancer. So cancer existed long before cities, cars, cigarettes, or modern industry. But why? Because cancer begins with something incredibly basic: cells. Your body contains trillions of cells constantly dividing, repairing damage, and replacing old tissue. Every time a cell copies its DNA, there is a small chance of an error. Most errors do nothing. Some are repaired, some cause the cell to die. But occasionally, mutations affect the genes controlling cell growth. If enough of those mutations accumulate, a cell may stop obeying the normal rules. It begins dividing when it should not, forming a tumor. That process could happen to an ancient human just as it can happen today. Cancer is therefore partly a consequence of being a complex multicellular organism. Even animals get it. Dogs, elephants, whales, dinosaurs, and many other species have developed tumors. Ancient humans had other cancer risks too. Sunlight contains ultraviolet radiation, which can damage DNA in skin cells. People living outdoors for most of their lives may have experienced huge amounts of sun exposure. Smoke was another possible risk. Ancient humans spent thousands of hours sitting near campfires. Inside poorly ventilated caves or shelters, smoke could fill the air with tiny particles and chemicals. Long-term smoke exposure can damage the respiratory system. Certain infections can also cause cancer. Today we know that viruses such as HPV can contribute to cervical and other cancers, while hepatitis viruses can increase the risk of liver cancer. Ancient humans were exposed to parasites, bacteria, and viruses constantly. Some infections may have contributed to cancers we can no longer detect. So if cancer existed, why do we find so few prehistoric cases? Age is probably one of the biggest reasons. Cancer becomes much more common as people get older because mutations accumulate over time. Many ancient humans died younger from infections, injuries, childbirth complications, starvation, violence, or accidents. A person who dies at 25 has simply had less time to develop many of the cancers that usually appear at 60 or 70. But this does not mean everyone in prehistory died at 30. Average life expectancy was pulled down dramatically by infant and childhood mortality. People who survived childhood could sometimes live into their 50s, 60s, or beyond. Those older individuals absolutely had enough time to develop cancer, and archaeologists have found examples. Ancient Egyptian mummies and skeletons have occasionally shown tumors and possible metastatic cancers. Other cases have been found in Roman, medieval, and prehistoric remains. Some cancers spread from an organ into the skeleton, producing unusual holes, growths, or lesions that can survive for thousands of years. But diagnosing cancer in ancient bones is difficult. Infections, injuries, and other diseases can create similar damage. Modern researchers use CT scans, microscopes, X-rays, and sometimes chemical or genetic analysis to avoid mistaking one disease for another. There is another important difference between ancient and modern cancer. Today, humans often live much longer. More people reach ages where cancer becomes common. We are also exposed to certain modern risk factors. including tobacco, air pollution, some industrial chemicals, obesity, and lifestyle factors. So modern environments can increase the risk of specific cancers. But that does not mean civilization invented cancer. Ancient humans were not protected simply because their food was natural and their air was cleaner. Their cells still mutated. They still aged. They still breathed smoke, experienced infections, and lived under intense sunlight. So did ancient humans get cancer? Absolutely. Probably more often than the archaeological record makes it seem. Cancer is not a punishment created by modern society. It is an ancient biological problem hidden deep inside the machinery that allows our bodies to grow, heal, and survive. And long before humans understood what cancer was,